Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Cooking with Colum. I'm Colum, I'm no cook, but I do love to, well, I'm no chef, but I do love to cook, get my own catchphrase right. Welcome. Today we're going to be doing a cheesy vegetable pasta bake. It is a dish that I am very familiar with eating. It's an amazing dish, but I've never made it myself. This is actually my first time today, so you get to watch me as I make all the lovely mistakes and going forward with this. So, let's get started. First thing you want to do is preheat your oven to 220 degrees Celsius or 200 degrees Celsius if you're using a fan assisted oven, which I am. So let's get that bad boy going. Yep, cool. And then you want to get your butternut squash, which you need, your butternut squash and sweet potato mix, and you want to measure out 400 grams of that into a bowl so that you can then put it into your large baking tray. These are 300 gram bags, so I knew I wasn't going to have enough of that one.
How do I math?
So?
How do I math?
How do you math? Well, luckily I've got a scale to do it for me. There we go. A lot of this is baking the veg basically and getting it to certain stages of readiness for the rest of the vegetables to go in with it. So you want to toss that with a bit of fry light or any low-cal spray you've got. So give that a few spritzes, and you want to put in some garlic with that as well. Where have I put my garlic? And for this I need my measuring spoons. I believe this was 2 teaspoons. It's I had to convert it from the original recipe, and the recipe I've got in front of me shows the original, which is 2 garlic cloves, but garlic granules doesn't quite convert that way. So if you're using granules, just if you want to look up the conversion, but you know what, you can never have too much garlic, so 2 tablespoons is a bit too much. Garlic is delicious.
Garlic is delicious.
So good. Okay, and that pops into the oven, so I'm going to give it a quick toss first. She doesn't like a quick toss.
Is there any other kind?
Probably not. I take to this being family. I like child friendly today, we're just going to ruin it. Okay. It's like, should I? I mean, it's me and Jay that's on there. Will it really be?
Yeah, well.
Okay, you want to pop that in for 15 minutes. And then we move on to our next step, which is we're preparing the asparagus and the leeks. Here I have my leeks. Now, it states that it wants 400 grams of baby leeks, where we're using full-size leeks. So you want to half that, otherwise the flavour will be a bit too strong. Because full-size leeks does have a stronger flavour. So let's get that measured first, and then I'll get it washed and diced. Where did I move those? Two. How much does that weigh? That's about 100. So you don't normally use those in bits, and the wife doesn't quite like the white as much, so I get rid of those because my wife is intolerant to onions, but she likes leeks, but these white bits have a bit too much of that oniony flavour. So that's $2.19, so we'll go with that. Get rid of my spare leek. Now, with leeks, because of just the way they grow in the dirt, like all vegetables, these ones are laid and you'll find that leeks tend to get dirt in between the layers. So cutting the leek in half first and then washing it before you start slicing it is advisable. You don't have to if you like having a bit of dirt in your food. It's not really going to hurt you. I mean, I like potato skins and you can't really get all the mud off those. But I'm going to give these a quick wash nonetheless. Washing my leeks. You'll find probably most of the dirt will be on the outside, but sometimes you'll get some fairly large clumps on the inside, and that's really what you're trying to work to remove. Again, so I've said on all my streams, make sure that any knife you are using is a sharp one, because a blunt knife is a dangerous knife. Now, we want to get this finished sliced. If you're comfortable doing so, just bunch it all together, and I should slowly just go through the whole bunch. Some of the outer skins might prove a little bit on the stubborn side, but we can address those.
Harder.
Sorry?
Just stab it harder.
Stab it harder. If you're not stabbing it hard enough, then you're doing it wrong. If you don't feel comfortable bundling this all together, that's fine. Just make sure you stay safe while you're using knives. And any kids watching the stream, get your parents to do this part. Guess depends on what you define as a kid. I was doing this when I was a teenager, so. Remember kids, don't eat healthy at home, it's dangerous. No. As you saw, some of those outer skin bits just got a bit on the escapist side, so we're just breaking those down. It's got a bit of moisture in there, so just dump that out. Yummy, yummy greens. I'd say that's all that's going into this, but the butternut squash and the sweet potatoes are not green. And leave us to pasta. Should I be pre-boiling the pasta like I do on the other pasta bake? Meanwhile, cook the pasta. That's instruction number 3. I'm going to get it going now because, you know, pasta takes a bit longer to cook than chopping vegetables, so. We don't want to be waiting around for an age, because the aim is, because this cooks in stages, to get all of this done on the string. Maybe a short while in the final baking session where we're sat around just chatting, but okay, pasta wise, you want 250 grams dried penne. I'm just going to measure that out over here. Pretty close actually. 244. 250. Escape the pasta. And you'll want to get that into a pot, because you can't really boil it otherwise. This should be big enough for 50 grams. Those that were here on the last stream, remember that I had a horrible clicking noise going throughout the entire stream. I've since unplugged the stove, but I'm going to light it with a lighter. Actually, I'm going to wait until the water's boiled because that feels just like wasting gas and burning pots. We have anyone from the last stream on today?
We had one join at the start, and then Rose has just joined.
Hello, Rose. Welcome. Okay, that's the leeks done. Okay, so according to pack instructions, until al dente. So yeah, basically you just want it to be a little bit crunchy to the bite, like with my first pasta bake, but not cooked all the way through. The final cooking will happen once it is in the oven. So probably not the safest thing to do at home, but
People are loving that apron.
I thank you. This was a gift to me by a loyal fan, Coral. She's awesome, and this has been the one I've worn since being given it. I think this makes it its third stream.
Yeah, third.
Yeah. Okay, I don't think it's quite enough water in the pot there. I'm just going to get some more in the boil. So now we want to get the asparagus tips ready. Asparagus tips. And again, we want to weigh those, and we want 200 grams of asparagus tips. Now, it says the tips, but they tend to wither quite quickly, and we quite like the rest of the asparagus, so we're just going to use what's there. I'm going to give your tips a wash because nobody likes a dirty tip. And you just want to remove those bits at the end which have withered a little bit.
According to Rose, asparagus is good for preventing urinary tract infections.
Good to know.
Probably because they're bristly and you can...
So these you don't need to worry about being too fine, because these add a nice bit of texture to it all. Yeah, I'm probably going to need both packets of this. So let's say we'll cut down to about there.
We could have done without both packets.
Sorry?
Could have done without both packets.
Why? You don't like asparagus?
Not really.
Have you liked this last time you had it?
What?
Did you like this the last time I made it? Well, the last time Deanna made it. Sorry?
If I pick out these.
You pick out the asparagus.
I do.
You're a terrible person.
Well, I'm not gonna... Look, someone cooks me food, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I ain't eating this.
But you could be. I mean, you literally pay me to cook your food.
Doesn't matter. Still cook me food.
Fair.
But asparagus is big. You can just pick it out if you don't like it.
Yeah, at least I didn't slice it down like
Now,
that.
if you put some mushrooms in there, then we're gonna have a problem. We're gonna have a fight.
Well, I do have a pack of mushrooms.
Well, no.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Okay, so that's the core vegetable of this dish done. And it's not too long before they've got to go in as well. So let's have a look at what we do next. May as well measure out the cheese and the passata now. Let's grab another mixing bowl for the cheese. This is something that Jay won't complain about there being too much of.
Cheese is great in everything and all things.
Cheese is great. And this is grated cheese. So you have about 110 grams of this. There we go. And the passata, don't normally measure, but this calls for 500 grams, and the packets, though they say 500 grams, aren't exactly 500 grams. I'm pretty sure they're measuring the packet.
Sounds lovely.
Sounds lovely.
Lovely.
Can you hold that in a bit for us, please, sir? Tall. $500. There's not really a lot left in that, so they really don't give you 500 grams. That's crazy. So there's a good amount left in the last one, and there's less left in that one. So 500 grams, and I think this has to mix in with the garlic. Okay, so those vegetables are going to go back in for 20 minutes. May as well do that now. I've only got 2 minutes left on the timer. So I'm going to get my
Rose is commenting on the sound.
the squelching.
Yeah.
My heat-proof graty thing.
That's what good
What are these called?
heat-proof grating thing.
Yes, they are. Good man. Now, where did I get it?
Rose is requesting a spicy recipe one week.
Well, if you stick sriracha on top of this, it will be spicy.
That's very true. We do stick sriracha on a lot of things.
We stick sriracha on most things. Cornflakes, frankfurters, jammy dodgers.
You know what? 2 or 3 of those things are actually a thing. So
It worked surprisingly well. If you're wondering, we tried this while camping because we thought, you know what? Why?
you know what? We've had a fair amount to drink. Let's.
I hadn't by that point. You guys may have, but I was just like,
You just followed
Sure.
in. Like, why not?
yeah, just like hokey fit of shots. And I wasn't drunk enough to use that as my excuse of, you know what, they're not bad. You were. So, toss them about.
I think it was alcohol in my system constantly during that trip.
The whole Tokunatsu. I'm actually wearing my Tokunatsu t-shirt and onions.
Represent. Yeah, everyone's seen it while you're washing dishes.
I was washing the asparagus and not dishes.
Washing for the dishes.
Okay. Yes, it's already out. So, anything else going in with that? Add the asparagus and the leeks, toss gently, throw it back in the oven for 20 minutes. But yes, I do plan to do a chili con carne at some point. I was planning to do it last week, but as a result of me being sick, didn't do it. And most of what I cook on the channel is slightly more planned ahead. Not always by myself. I sometimes have input, but is there any particular spicy or hot dish you would like, Rose?
She's requesting a recipe with chili or jalapenos.
Jalapeños.
Oh yeah. God damn it. Every time. It's because when I read it, I say jalapenos.
Those jalapenos. Can I have some jalapenos on my Subway, please? It's quite funny. I was in Subway a couple of weeks back, and there was a guy with his mate, and his mate asked for some jalapenos, and he promptly corrected him, going, "You know they're called jalapenos, right?" It's like, "No, they're not. Look, it says on the label, jalapenos."
I mean, like,
and the guy behind us, like this guy serving them, was like, "It's jalapenos."
I mean, like, technically they're not wrong. If you're reading it, it's jalapenos.
It's well,
But
no,
because
because it's a Spanish word.
Yeah, which is
And
because they're H and J. Or,
they pronounce J's as H's.
yeah.
And they
Which is
pronounce...
why it took me ages when I'm talking to people like that online, and they're like, ja, 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 ja. I'm like, what are you talking about? So, oh, yeah.
I've only just got that.
Did you actually? Oh my god.
To be fair, I didn't know. Okay, so that's on. That's on.
Rose says do burritos and she'll come over if you do burritos. So that's a good reason not to do burritos.
Poor Rose. I love burritos.
Burritos are good.
Would you like chicken burritos, like beef burritos, vegetable burritos? There's lots of type of burritos you can have, and I love them all. I love them all. So yeah, it's. I thought that there was going to be more in between bits.
we got a request for something good.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Much love.
That one was from me.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah.
You always liked what I cooked. You had pumpkin pie 2 weeks ago.
Rose said, "Listen here, hey." Ha 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 ha.
But
Because of the jalapeno thing. Don't you mean jar 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 jar?
So ha binks. But yeah, this is grossly mistimed. I was assured that the in-between steps would flow well enough that this wouldn't happen, but it has. So, what do you want to talk about, guys? Because we've got 20 minutes, well, 17 minutes of that, and another 15 minutes afterwards waiting for it to cook. This is why I normally have one prepared.
Here's one I had made earlier.
Yep. And I was going to do that, but I was 100% assured that this wouldn't be a problem. Alas. Alas. Anyone got any cooking questions? I might be able to give some advice. Or questions about recipes I could do in the future. I will do burritos, so I'll add that to the list.
They're too busy saying that hey is my Spanish name and Carl's short and Jar Jar Binks. So.
You mean you're a people kind of bar?
No.
I just lost everyone now. You don't want pasta to stick, so let's check the pasta.
It's a good shout. Check the food that you are cooking.
Yes. That is al dente. So, I got something to do. I can drain the pasta. It's going to take all of 2 seconds.
Coral's asking about any Christmas recipes.
I've been thinking about this, and I'm not sure yet, but I plan to do a Christmas special. My initial thought was turkey, but I'm not going to do a 4-hour special with just a camera pointing at the oven, so...
Yeah.
Oh, so turkeys aren't cheap.
Turkeys aren't cheap.
Nope, you've got to take them out, wind them, dine them, then you leave them dry.
And then they give you the meat.
And then they give you the meat. Christmas special. What can I do? I could probably do like a Christmas pudding, maybe. I've never done that. I'd have to look it up. Maybe like a Swiss log or an ice cream roll. That could work nice.
What? No.
Why?
That's not Christmassy.
Swiss rolls are quite Christmassy, especially if you get the chocolate ones covered in a bit of like white icing on them.
No.
Some fake little Christmas trees in them.
The only Christmassy dessert is trifle. That's it.
Now I do make mean trifle.
Yeah. See, there
And
you
what
go.
I mean is I basically get trifle mix and put it together. So
Has it got
Yes.
mincemeat in it? Because
mincemeat and trifle.
yeah.
What?
Yeah, you don't know that.
No, you don't do that.
Yeah, you do.
No, you don't. Trifle is the trifle base, possibly with those trifly biscuit things you get in the bottom. So it goes the jelly on the bottom, then custard, then whipped cream, and sprinkles. That's a good trifle. Made roughly to this size.
Rose said that's a Yule log.
Yule log, there you go, Christmas Yule logs. See? Christmassy. Christmas puddings are Christmassy. Mince pies, I could look up a recipe for mince pies. Do mince pies, and you set that, then you get your mince meat. Do you know why they're called mince pies?
I don't. Enlighten me.
It's because they used to actually contain ground meat in them.
Why don't they now?
Because people preferred them without the ground meat in it. They found they liked the other bits of the filling, the fruit and the stuff that made it into a mince pie. They preferred that by itself.
Make
So
a
they just
real mince pie then.
It's also cheaper without the mince. Potentially, I could try and make a real mince pie.
Your log of alcohol. Okay.
Could do that. There's a lot of things I could do, so I'm going to have to think about it. I'll have a chat with my better half because whatever I cook on the stream, we eat as a family, including Jay. And so it is a group decision. I want to do something fairly wintry and stodgy, like as well. So maybe like a cottage pie.
Something with alcohol in it, so I can have some. That'd be hilarious.
There's an alcohol in the cupboard. Help yourself. It's yours. Yeah, it will kill you. You smell it and it'll be all over.
Just get flashbacks of that walk home that night. Oh.
Yep. I love how this just turned into like a live stream. Just.
Well, it was always a live stream.
I know, but you know what I mean. Like when other cooking channels I see, they pre-record what they do so that this doesn't happen, and they cut it down in small segments. Most of the recipes last for about 5 minutes, and then every now and again they'll just do a live stream where they're sat in front of a computer in a hoodie chatting to the audience. And this is what this is now. I mean, we've still got 13 minutes on the veg, so yeah. Roast me for really badly mistiming this stream.
So your choices so far are your log, mince pies.
Christmas pudding, trifle. If I was to do a trifle though, I'd see if I could make it from scratch rather than just a trifle mix. Because I basically get custard mix, whipping cream and jelly, and just throw it together. Jelly, there's probably not a lot I can do about that. But the custard I can make from scratch. Not sure there's a lot you can do with whipping cream. It's just.
See, I wanna say cheesecake, but that's not Christmassy. But I love cheesecake.
Yeah, I mean, I want to try and make it so that the desserts are limited to about once a month if I do them, because first fireworks over behind me is like, yes to cheesecake.
America.
America. New York cheesecake is tasty.
It is.
I want some cheesecake now.
I just ate all mine, so.
Curses. So yeah, because I don't want to do desserts too often. What I cook here is the dinner for my family for the night. So I'm cooking a dessert. I have to cook dinner as well afterwards, and so that just elongates my nights. And I like to, actually have a life. So yeah, desserts will be about once a month, and I think the dessert for December will be a Christmas themed one. Just got to decide which. I like the idea of mince pies from scratch.
With the actual mince.
Possibly.
I'd try that.
Deanna might object. But we can discuss it. I can actually probably do a batch with mince and without mince in it. That does remind me a bit of the that Friends episode where they make they're reading trifle, but one of the pages for that so it ends up half trifle, half shepherd's pie.
Yes, why I said mince.
Yeah. And every single time I watch that episode, I'm just
I'm
I'm
gonna
with
try
Jerry.
that.
I would try that.
Yeah, I would try it. I was like custard good, cream good, mince good.
Yeah. Nothing bad about it.
Nothing bad about it.
People have tried making it at home, and to mixed effect. Some people like it, some people don't. I guess it depends if you like sweet and savoury stuff.
I suppose it would really depend on the actual mince. Like, is it going to be lean mince, or is it you're going to cook it down beforehand?
It needs to be lean mince, because if you don't have lean mince, you'll get too much fat in it, and that will congeal in it, especially when it sets and gets cold. So you want lean mince. You want it also to be fairly dry by the time it's done cooking. I mean, sure, you can have the vegetables and stuff in it, but the gravy will need to be thick, because trifles are layered, and you don't want it to basically just seep into a gloop. When it's on your plate, it can be a gloop, but for presentation purposes, you don't want it to be a gloop beforehand. And you know what? Cold gravy is not bad. It's not bad. It's not as good as hot gravy, but hot trifle isn't good. Needs to be cold. So that one, I might do that as a special. It's if I make it to a year and I have lots of followers and you all want me to, I will make the Friends trifle. And it will be glorious.
It will be glorious. Rose asks you, do a recipe of turkey for Christmas. Turkey is healthy.
Turkey is healthy.
Turkey is healthy.
I could do 2 Christmas streams. I could do one a hot meal and one a cold meal.
I mean, like, not to suppose we do something in relation to turkey, but not like actually doing the turkey, just like the leftover turkey kind of thing.
There's a turkey escalope recipe we do, but it's not very Christmassy. It's delicious. It's orange marinated turkey. It's lovely, but it's not a Christmas recipe. We do have a Christmas cookbook. I can flick through and have a look to see, and it's a Slimming World Christmas cookbook as well. So anything I pick from there will be Slimming World friendly. And
so, not as good.
Everything I've cooked you's been a Slimming World recipe, except for pumpkin pie. But everything else. Actually, I tell a lie. I invented the bolognese. I also invented the barbecue chicken pasta bake. So those are my recipes, but I've made them to Slimming World standards, and you've liked them all. I mean, I remember you messaging me after the first day I met you, and you're on the train on the way home. These are the best bolognese I've ever had. Oh my god! So you can't tell me what's worse now.
Well, I didn't say that. I said this is really good.
I saved the message. It's framed. That's not. But I'll get it framed.
Don't let my mum hear you say that. She'll murder both of us.
I'm guessing that hers is your best bolognese.
Yeah. Hers is not healthy at all. Nothing that woman makes is healthy.
We'll have to get her over sometime. She can cook for us. So welcome to our house now. Cook us dinner.
She probably would, to be fair.
If you're watching, you are welcome. We'll make room for you. Probably on Jay's floor, but we'll make room for you. And it'll be good to meet you. And Jay does speak very highly of your cooking. I made chicken supreme, and he was just like, "It's not my mum's." I mean, he still rated it alright, but it's just like, yeah, my mum's is the best.
It's probably the metric crap ton of cream she puts in it, but
yeah, next time I make it, I'm going to try and make it with more. I think it's quark we add to it, and I think the recipe doesn't call for enough. And quark's free in Slimming World, so I'm going to experiment with that bad boy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because it's what I do want to do on the stream, and I think it's. I mean, it's actually I really like it.
Just lace everything with potato. That's the way forward.
Yes. In fact, I think we did have it with jack potatoes last time we had it, didn't we? No, we had it with rice, but I think it would go well with jack potatoes.
Would it? What? Chicken supreme?
Yeah. It's a baked potato, crack it open, pour it on top.
I suppose.
Better with rice?
It is better with rice.
We'll stick with rice then. But I find that a lot of dishes that I enjoy with rice are pretty good with potatoes, like chili. Chili goes really well on a baked potato.
It does.
The sweet and sour chicken probably goes really well on a baked potato. I mean, baked potatoes, you can just throw stuff on it and it tastes good.
It's true.
It's
just butter, it's good.
But yeah, I haven't actually had butter on a baked potato for a long time. It's not so yes, we've got 6 minutes left on the thing, and then we're going to have another 15 minutes of this afterwards. I can't believe that 35 minutes of my stream is me just chatting to you guys today. Isn't this lovely?
Yeah, they all stopped chatting.
Aww. They probably all got bored of me just sitting there chaffing crap. Oh well. I mean, I assure you it's delicious, and when it comes out it's going to look good. I just wish I could speed up time, but I can't, because I'm not a wizard or a Time Lord. We could be a Time Lord.
Rose is suggesting sausage casserole.
I do like sausages.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I do like sausages. I do like sausage casserole quite a lot. I haven't had it in years. The last time I had a sausage casserole, my mum made it, and she used to make the best sausage casseroles. And she would do the sausage in such a way that sort of like this, they would be quite soft in the skin.
Yeah, they'd be white, wouldn't it?
And gorgeous. And just onions and potatoes and really good. I'll see if I can find a recipe because I've never made it myself.
I never made it myself.
But I think it would be good.
It might be. Oh no, that's a bad idea. I was going to say it might be good in the slow cooker, but then it's not good for the thing, is it?
No, unless I prep it way ahead of time.
Yeah.
But then it would just be welcome to the stream today. Here's the sausage casserole. See you guys later.
We'll make up for this one, to be fair.
Yeah, 5 minute stream.
Yeah.
To be fair, I thought the last stream we did with pumpkin pie was going to be a short one because in reality there's not lots of components to it. but that still ended up being about 40 minutes as well, which I was quite surprised by. But yes.
Got Slimming World Creamy Cajun Chicken Pasta.
I have looked at that, and that does look good. That is a good one. I think I will try that as well. I'm going to have to go back through the comments on this later and just...
Pancakes.
On the week of Pancake Day, we will do pancakes. But I'll do American pancakes.
With bacon and maple.
We can do them bacon and maple, but dessert pancakes are better.
Yeah.
I mean, the actual pancake itself is exactly the same. It's just what you choose to go with it.
Yeah.
It's in America. You'll get like a pancake with whipped cream and cheesecake flavored cream and like the cheese filling and strawberries all over it with a side of bacon and eggs and maple syrup all over it. IHOP is awesome, and I wish we got them here. They have them in Europe, but they don't have them in England, and I don't know why. I think there's a market for breakfast restaurants in the UK.
Rose is requesting a breakfast stream to give us healthy breakfast recipes, but I can already shoot that one down because that's not going to work.
I can do a full fry actually. A full fry.
No, more like there'll be someone who would get really in the way.
Oh, the child? Yeah. I'd have to do it. Well, to be fair, if I arrange it enough in advance, I could probably arrange it so that Deanna takes him out to soft play or something. It couldn't be on a Saturday.
No.
It'd probably have to be on a Sunday. And I'd probably have to skip church. But it's something that we can think about at least. Because on Slimming World I've always found breakfast the hardest thing, especially when I first started Slimming World. I was on nights, and so I'd wake up and I'd have dinner, and I'd come home in the morning and I'd want something sort of dinner consistency before I went to bed, and it was all healthy stuff and I was losing weight, but I was just like not having breakfast at all, or sometimes I'd have a breakfast type thing before going to bed, but most of the time I was just having 2 dinners and a lunch. I would come home sometimes and I'd make myself a fry up because that's enough food, but I'd do it similar fry up because as long as you do bacon with the fat cut off and fry light, free. Mushrooms, free. I know you don't like them because hush. You can actually make Slimming World hash browns that are free. You can any form of eggs, free. As long as you don't like cover them in cheese or anything. Baked beans are free. And at the time they did do Slimming World sausages which were free. So yeah, I mean, I used to be able to make a really nice full cooked breakfast, and it was no sins. If I was to do it now, I'd probably have to try and get some low sin sausages, because I think Slimming World stopped sausages because people didn't like them. I thought they were awesome, and I could eat an entire packet, but no. Apparently they weren't selling well enough, or they got complaints on the taste of them, and they stopped. Sometimes, if you've seen the Slimming World, bring the sausages back. Slimming World's never going to see this. We're down to a minute on the oven before we start this all over again for 15 minutes. Because I think it is mix it all together and throw it back in. 10 to 15 minutes, so we're going to do it for 10.
Rose is complaining I skipped a comment, but I didn't. Just time dilation.
Did you just ignore a comment?
No.
Which comment was it?
The breakfast recipe.
The breakfast recipe one. So, when your time is up, you want to pull that bad boy out. Burns a little bit, but that's okay. Oh, did I miss a step? Oh no, it wants you to mix the cheese. Okay, I see. The recipe calls for mixing the cheese with the passata, which it's all going in, so I don't see what the point of that is. Thank you for adjusting the angle.
Oh, I love pasta.
So good.
So good.
It's when it starts getting to this stage, it starts getting a little bit tricky to handle, so you want to just sort of fold it. Like sort of push it from the edges into the middle and sort of just roll it out. Once the pasta is nice and mixed in there. For for the sake of the recipe, let's mix the cheese. Now, it does actually say to mix 2/3 and then top the cheese, but we just like mixing it all through, so we're going to add all the cheese into that. Should have used a large measuring jug.
Yeah, probably.
Oh well. I'm Aussie.
There's still cheese in that jug.
I apologise for skipping the cheese.
You're skipping the cheese now.
That's what I'm doing. And again, you want to fold that through so that the sauce is in as many nooks and crannies as possible.
Rose is asking, is brown pasta a healthier option? Sometimes because it's healthier, it doesn't make it a better option.
You can use whole wheat pasta if you want to. In terms of Slim World, they just say you can use whatever you like, as long as it's dried. It's, I think, supposedly better for your heart, like more grains or something, but we're not particularly bothered. You can buy 3 kilograms of penne pasta from Tesco's or Sainsbury's, very cheap, and we use a lot of it. So, but you can't do that with brown pasta because they always charge more for the healthier options, and it is quite annoying sometimes. Okay, once that's mixed in nicely, get your 10-minute timer set up ready, and get it back in the oven. Simples. You're playing silly buggers with me. There we go. Cool. Well, that's the recipe done. For those that want to stick around and see what it looks like when it's out of the oven, please do. We've got 10 minutes to kill for that then. Anything on your mind, Jay? There's nothing ever on your mind.
Nothing PG.
Is there any recipes that you would like?
Ooh.
What's your favourite thing, apart from pepperoni pizza?
Ooh.
Which is something I plan to try on this stream at some point, is making pizza from scratch.
I like,
You like cheese and pasta and starch and meat.
I do like those stuff, but like, how do I explain it? Like comfort food stuff like mashed potatoes and just that kind of...
Okay. Okay. So something like bangers and mash with a bit of gravy, some beans on the side.
Yeah, that works.
Is there anything that's what's your favourite food, Cora?
Veg.
Well, we're making a veg pasta bake now, so excellent.
Yeah. Anything veg or cheese.
You'll probably like the Vadu powder when I give it a try then. Basically, effectively deep fried spicy potatoes.
Nice.
They're not going to be deep fried when I make them, but I'm going to try and get them as a close approximation as possible.
How about a origin recipe? Something, a little Scottish dish. How about that?
Or like haggis. Haggis. I actually really like haggis.
I really like haggis as well.
I really like haggis. I can look to see how to make that. Most haggises these days are cooked in synthetic stomachs rather than actual sheep stomachs. The thing is, though,
which I'm fine with, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm going to have to see if you can buy those synthetic stomachs, because if I'm going to make haggis, I want to make it from scratch. I don't want to buy a haggis boiler and be like, there's haggis.
I actually used to do it in tins.
I have seen haggis in tins.
But I was like, haggis in tins, and then I actually, I'll try it, and it's actually really good.
I was basically just like sausage meat in a tin.
No, because it's more grainy. It's not.
Yeah, it is a bit more grainy, but haggis has the same roots as sausages.
Have you seen that awful tin? It's like Christmas dinner in a tin, and you've got like the layers of turkey and carrot. Ugh.
Have you seen the chicken in a tin?
Yes.
Whole chicken in a tin.
All the jelly.
I would try it. It doesn't look good.
I'd try.
It'd have to be well microwaved first with good help and a gravy.
Oh god.
But yes, I don't know if you've seen, but we've horribly mistimed our stream today.
It's not too bad.
I'm hoping that we've been entertaining enough in the gaps in between.
Definitely.
Have you been watching it, have you?
Yeah.
Awesome. You're glad it's not been too bad then. Because it's been less of a cooking stream and more of just a chatting stream today.
We're talking about Christmas, that's fine.
Yes. Yes, we should have Christmas music playing in the background, or actually, just so you know, to complete the theme. I need to get myself a Christmas apron.
So,
Or, maybe just get a little Christmas bow tie.
Yeah.
Rose is asking, do you work out how many calories there are per portion of the dishes you make?
No, I don't. What's wrong with it? I don't count calories.
Sins.
They count sins.
Yeah, they don't count calories, Rose.
In some cases, it's not harmful to do so. I mean, if you're following a calorie-driven diet, that's fine. There was one example I was told, an anecdote, that they did this Slimming World curried rice loaf, and it was sin-free. It was basically rice with different spices and stuff, and it apparently tasted amazing. And people were coming in being like, I don't know why I'm like not losing any weight this week. All I've done is eat these curried rice loaves a week, and they're sin-free, so I have no sins. They're really amazing. It's like, okay, how much are you having? And they were like, oh, maybe like a loaf a night. And my friend who was going to that group at the time worked out that each loaf was roughly 9,000 calories. And so these people were consuming 9,000 calories a night and wondering why they weren't losing weight. So the issue with Slimming World is, well, I say the issue. The point about Slimming World is you're meant to try and balance what you're eating with veg, and these people weren't doing that. And so you've got to try and have like speed foods. A big portion of any veg on the side, broccoli, will be good. A third to half of your plate. And that helps fill you up so you're not eating too much of the carbs, which are also, for the most part, free on Slimming World. But the point is not just to have all carbs, otherwise you're just defeating the purpose of it. And so you've got to be careful, and sometimes being aware of the calories isn't a bad thing. Any other questions? Problem is, there's a time delay between what I say and what they say. So
yeah, see, if you take away junk food and then add maths, that's just me out. Like, I'm done.
Which is why Slimming World I think works well, because it doesn't have you really counting anything other than sins. So it does suggest you cut most of the junk food, but they do allow a certain amount of it.
Yeah.
In fact, they insist that you have a certain amount of it per day to keep your system in balance, otherwise your metabolism will just flop out. But the whole point of it being extra easy and all of these free foods is you don't have to think about it. You can, as long as you know that the stuff you're keeping around is free, you can combine it in any combination you want and eat it, and you're fine. And most fruit's free as long as you don't cook it, blend it. It's free if it's fresh or frozen. Which I find strange in some of the recipes, because some of the Slimming World recipes does have you baking fruit and they still consider it free, even though they tell you when you bake fruit it's not free. That they make up their own rules sometimes, but
like there's like more calories in toast than bread or something.
Bread is something that is quite limited on Slimming World, and something I think you might struggle with.
I like bread.
You like bread.
I do like bread.
Honestly, I didn't miss it. Do you add like 2 slices of?
The thing is, I can happily like brown bread because I really like brown bread as well. So I just happily eat that.
Yeah, you're allowed, I think, of brown crustless bread.
You can have 3 of those.
3 slices a day.
But you need 4 to make a sandwich.
But then you can use your sins.
Or you can use, you can use your sins for the 4th slice, or you can cut the 3rd slice into 2 and have it as a heart sandwich.
It looks like you just swore at him, like half a sandwich.
But that counts as a healthy extra. It's if you're having the hi-fi bars, you can't then have the bread as well. It's you choose what your healthy extras are, and you get healthy extra A, healthy extra B. One is your dairies, one is your breads and grainy stuff. Fibers, yeah. Because bread can be quite devastating to a diet.
Or you do the SP days and you get 2 healthy Bs.
Yes, you do an SP day, which is
bread makes you fat.
Yeah, it makes you fat. It's an SP day is where you cut out anything other than speed foods and protein foods. So all meat, but you're basically cutting out the pastas, the carbs, potatoes, stuff like that. The book has guidelines. I'm not a consultant. If you want to figure out how to do all this stuff, go to a Slimming World group, pay your consultant to talk to you about it. I was about to say, I don't have time for this. I've got plenty of time for this.
You do have plenty of time for this.
I actually only have 3 minutes left. So I've done very good at filling the gap so far. My throat's actually getting a bit on the sore side. I don't normally talk this much on the streams. Normally go chop, 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 chop. Look how pretty this is. But you can't make pasta bakes that pretty. It's the nature of being basically mush this all together, throw it in the oven. But it will be delicious. And I think it's, with the vegetable pasta bake, I think a quarter of it is a healthy extra A. Yeah. Because it's got cheese. Depending on what cheese you use, if you the lighter and lower fat cheese you have, you probably can get more out of it. But again, please have books. This isn't meant to be a Slim World consultation channel, it's a healthy eating channel. And I just happen to call it Slim World.
Rose says bread makes you doughy.
Yes, it does.
I'd be less doughy if someone stopped feeding me scones and gingerbread men and cake.
But they're delicious and she makes really good
Yes.
gingerbread men cake and scones.
That makes it even worse.
That Victoria sponge. Wow.
Yeah, that was good.
I dream of eating that sponge again. But yes, it's as much as we love your cooking, Rose, we probably shouldn't have as much of it in our house anymore. Me and Jay have zero willpower, like none. So if we're presented with tasty treats, we will eat the tasty treats.
This is true with dogs.
Yes, yes we are. 1 minute left. Yes. The awkwardness will all end soon. I think it actually is. I think you're right. It's gone alright. It's not been too bad. It's Rose and Jay have done pretty well at keeping things flowing. Jay is very good at chatting crap, so
Yeah.
should be on your CV.
It is.
It is awesome. Is it just under customer service?
Yeah.
Chats crap.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you add extra mushrooms for Jay?
I did.
Good.
You can
I
see me
will
put them in.
stab you both.
I love mushrooms. They're one of the best things. So they absorb the flavour of what you're cooking them with. So I don't understand why people don't like them.
Because it's fungus.
Yeah. So are truffles.
Did you never see the Super Mario's?
Yeah, they love their mushrooms. But the film, yeah, I watched it. It should never be spoken of again.
I don't care what people say. I like that film.
Here we have a completed vegetable pasta bake. Shall we get some plates and you can try it?
Alright then, okay,
And then we can dish out the proportions.
Oh, apparently we've earned a cake, so this has backfired on us.
I'm so devastated.
Oh no.
I know. We and cake. I know. I know.
Oh no.
You can transfer this to a plate after we've done the taste testing.
I need a bowl.
You can have a bowl. You've been really in the bowl lately. So cool. Don't blame yourself.
Okay.
Let us know what you think. I won't force you to come down.
Good.
It's like, get round here and try this dip. I'm not that mean.
You did that to me the first time.
I did. I realised I was being horrible. It was funny, but I won't do it again.
Very nice.
Excellent. Well, that's the vegetable pasta bake done. It's. I hope you enjoyed this unorthodox stream, but fun nonetheless. I enjoyed myself. And join me next week for a dish I don't quite know what yet. Might be chili, might be something else. Catch you all later.